our Why It Matters segment tonight. President Trump keeps getting Democrats to oppose him on issues that an overwhelming majority of Americans support. We have been saying for months, and President Trump finally said, yes, that's what I'm doing. He's picking fights with Democrats on purpose, so they will take the losing side on common sense issues.
This Democrat consultant, they said, he's put him in a trap again, because these are all traps, 80-20, but they're not 80-20, they're almost 100-0, all these issues.
Say what you will about President Trump, but he does understand politics. He also understands television. He also understands that Democrats hate him so much, they will oppose him at the expense of their constituents. It happened on immigration, on boys and girls sports, and now it is happening on crime. During a 3.5-hour cabinet meeting today, he set the trap again by ranting and railing against crime in blue cities, their leaders, and the cable news networks they frequent.
I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole. In New York, it's out of control. Not as bad as Illinois, by the way. We don't need his help. Chicago is the worst. These places are really bad. MSNBC maybe is worse than Tren de Aragua. Real scum. You have 14-year-old kids that are evil. They're sick, and they have to be put away. And I see black women wearing a red MAGA hat last night on television. Please let the president come in. I hope, just in finishing, I hope that Illinois, I hope that New York, I hope that California, I hope they call me and they say, I'd love to have you come in and help us out. I will be a totally different person with them.
Democrats won't ask for Trump's help, and he knows it. Trump also knows his opposition will be enraged when they hear him talk like that. They'll go on and do cable news hits arguing that Chicago is safe. And yes, there are statistics showing certain crimes down in major urban areas, down from record highs set during the pandemic. But this isn't about statistics. Everybody says crime's down. So what? Crime affects lots of victims still. And politics is about how people feel. Gallup polling from March shows 75% of Americans worry about crime a great deal or a fair amount. At that time, 67% of Americans were somewhat or very dissatisfied with the nation's policies towards reducing crime. That is who Donald Trump is talking to. And when you're talking about an issue that 75% of Americans worry about and you say, I will fix it, they like that. When you're talking about an issue that 75% of Americans say they are worried about, and the other people say don't worry about that issue, that is a losing proposition. So let me put it another way. If you are on the south side of Chicago and scared your kid will get killed in a drive-by shooting on any night of the week, and let me tell you, on the south side of Chicago, every parent is fearful of that. Crime being down X% over last year is cold comfort. And for those keeping score, there was a murder in both Chicago and D.C. last night. So how can anyone say these cities are safe? So when Trump says he wants to fix the problem that 75% of Americans worry about, real people welcome it, even if they aren't 100% on board with how Trump is doing it. So past efforts, we showed you that last night in Chicago, have failed over and over and over again. Things get even worse for Democrats when they try to fight back. They often go on TV with this.
Donald Trump's military occupation could soon be coming to other cities across the U.S.
These are the acts of an authoritarian leader.
We could lose everything. We could lose our democracy, our constitutional republic.
He is setting the table for a kind of real confrontation along racial and ethnic lines.
Is that what we want to live in, where you just occupy every city because of so-called crime? That is how dictators come to power.
And Trump's handlers thought that he would conduct some kind of Mussolini-style military march across the country.
And it is all to stoke the ego of a wannabe dictator who is Donald Trump.
Calling Trump a dictator didn't work in 2016, didn't work in 2024. It is not working now. People don't feel that. They feel safer, not that somebody is taking over their cities. So yes, Trump is pushing new aggressive ideas to solve America's crime issue. The progressive left is fighting back with the same messaging from 2020. For example, the mayor of Chicago couldn't even handle a softball interview on MSNBC.
Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing.
Do you believe the streets of Chicago would be safer?
I don't believe that we should narrow it down to just police officers.
I'm agreeing with you that all of these other social programs are extraordinarily important. I just need a yes or a no.
Look, we are working hard to make sure that our police department is fully supported.
Okay, so the mayor didn't need a softball interview. He needed a T-ball interview. Joe Scarborough had to ask him 3 times if 5,000 cops would help. Mayor Johnson said free housing would help more. And this is where progressives are telling the truth. They believe people won't commit crimes if there was more free stuff. We tried that in 2020. Crime rates exploded. So Trump is taking common sense issues and forcing Democrats to defend a losing position, like somehow free housing is going to prevent crime. Now Trump is even admitting it, maybe even gloating about it a little bit. And I will bet you Democrats will still keep taking the bait. The obvious conclusion to that is they hate Trump more than they love their constituents.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.